Big news, everybody. Hats are back in stock on sportingchancepod.com. Select t-shirts are $10 off and sticker packs are half off. Go get them while you can. And if you want to lurcher, head on over to Clover Creek Canine on Facebook and message our friend Sean O'Neill today. For your micro hawking and redtail supplies on the East Coast, visit mountainstatefalconrysupply.com. To get the tightest braided equipment on the market, visit midnightfalconry.com. And last but not least, to add a goshawk to your hunting arsenal, go on over to northmountaingoshawks.com today to put in your order for next year's hunting partner. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the Sporting Chance podcast. This is one of those no guest episodes that I know you guys like so much. So for the real ones out there who are still tuned in, we got a good one for you.
There's a lot going on this week. A lot of crazy stuff going on. A lot of fun. Some current events we got to talk about. So
some bad times, some good times.
Yeah, it's a good conversation. There's plenty to cover. I mean, sometimes when we just banter, it's more fun than some of the guests, to be honest. You know? Don't tell anybody.
Definitely. Yeah, don't tell those guests.
Yeah, don't tell those guests. They know who they are, though.
Sometimes it'd be sounding like a Falconry Chronicles episode up in here, you know.
And we do not want that. Like that is
we do not want that.
We cannot allow that to happen.
All righty. So Casey is hot off the heels of another Bobby Kennedy event outside of Washington, D.C. He was up there with friends of the show, Tom Cullen and Harrison Dalby. Congratulations, by the way, to Harrison Dalby and his fiance, Megan.
Yes, congratulations.
They're now engaged.
We got to put like the sound effect. Woo!
Yep.
Yeah. So good for them.
She flew her parrot there, her macaw for all those people.
I was very impressed. I mean, she let that thing go. It's flying over. There's 350 people there. It was crazy.
To me, that's like, I don't know, like what makes it doable with hawks is the food. I don't know what it is for macaws that makes them want to come back. Is it like a fresh macadamia nut or something?
That's what I said. Well, you just throw out like if you're panicking, you just throw out an avocado or something, and they just come right back. I could not, but it's like a relationship, and it's trained to come back for a reward, but it's like it's going to come back anyway. She was saying, like, I asked her a bunch of questions. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's a foreign concept to me, and they're so expensive and they're so sweet and innocent that I would like fear for its life every time it's flying around.
Dude, parrots are not innocent, dude. Those things will bite your ear off if you look at them the wrong way. I took a kid hawking 3 days ago. A friend of the show. He's a photographer. John Gidney we talked about him on the show a million times. His mom and his brother are like big time trappers. They do seminars and stuff all over the country. But he's a photographer, and he just bought a parrot, and he brought it while we were hawking. But no, not what. Like he left it in the car. I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, of course.
We went hawking. We had fun, and it didn't catch anything. Bunch of chases, and then we went back to the car. He's like, "Oh, you'll get a kick out of this," and he runs to his car and comes back. I'm like, "What the heck is that thing?" And it's like some crazy, parrot, and it's all trained and stuff. And he hands it to me, and I'm holding it. And I'm suspicious of parrots just from like past experiences, so I'm kind of like, And I reach up while we're talking to like pet it, and the thing spins around to bite me. And I like, dealing with birds, I just by the skin of my teeth, just like pulled my finger out. And he's like, "Oh shoot, yeah, I forgot to tell you, don't pet it. It doesn't like being pet." I'm like, "Oh great, that's great." And then he was telling me that the thing's PSI that it had, the PSI bite force that it has is like 400 PSI or something like that. Like a German Shepherd's like 260.
Yeah, I mean,
insane.
They'll bust a walnut open.
Yeah, crazy.
I'm sure they're powerful.
So they're not as innocent as you say, Aaron. That's my point.
Well, they're kind of helpless, especially out in the wild, especially the captive ones. Like if a great horned owl grabs one of those things, they're done.
Yeah, if they grab them, but so So I asked Megan all these questions because before she moved up with Harrison, she lived in Florida, and she would let the thing fly around all the time, and she would come out and call it, and it would come back. And she said like red shoulders and red tails would come in on it all the time, and they're like real because their tail's like 10 feet long, so when they're flying, they have like these crazy abilities to like do these insane evasive maneuvers that birds of prey can't do. I'm sure like obviously if like a peregrine's like making passes at it in the open, like it's dead, but a stupid red shoulder chasing it around, like they can get away. They're actually pretty good, she said, which is interesting.
David Feliciano said that his parents' parrot was killed in the backyard by a wild red tail.
Yeah, that one got caught slipping because they left it in the backyard for like 20 years, right? Remember he said that?
Yeah. He said it couldn't fly either, but still, I don't know. Sad.
It is sad.
Anyways, so another RFK event. You got, I don't know if you realize how cool it is. You got a RFK challenge coin.
Yeah, I don't know what that means exactly. And then I thought I was special because I was the first one to get it. And then at the end of it, like every falconer there had one. I'm like, I was like just going to throw it in the garbage. When Harrison showed his, I was like, all right, this thing's worthless.
Oh, never mind.
Well, that's cool, though,
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't think many people can say the same thing. So just the small group of people that were there.
Yeah, I guess it was an interesting group too. We'll talk about it. We had Barber Hoods was there. What's his first name?
Is it
Jim?
I know someone else named Barber, and they're not a falconer, and that's the name rude. I want to say.
No, I feel
rude, either way, everybody knows Barber Hoods.
Yeah, he makes some of the best hood. He presented Bobby with like a custom made hood for him. Also podcast related, which was hilarious. The president and a couple other of like the leadership of the Maryland Club were there, and I was a little bit confronted because if you remember back to a couple episodes like last year, I was like running my mouth about them because they canceled their meet because of too many people were going. So I was running my mouth. So I got confronted about that, which was pretty awkward. But I stuck by my guns. I'm like, I don't understand the point of canceling. And they're like, oh, because there's 50 people showing up and only 5 people have birds. And I'm like, well, that's not good. And they're like, yeah. So what are we going to do? And then they don't come with birds, but then they'll come back. The meet's on Saturday and Sunday. They come back on Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they're trespassing on the farms that we have permission on, and then getting us kicked out altogether. So I'm like, well, that's really not good. So I understand their point, but I was still giving it to them because I'm like, and they were talking about other falconers in Maryland that are not doing the right things and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, were they allowed to attend any meets? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, they weren't. My opinion is that they weren't taught correctly. And then I used Teddy as an example. Teddy was, this sweet little lady out at every single Jersey meet for 30 years, catching tons of rabbits, tons of game. She sponsored Paul and Phil. They're out there catching tons of game. And it changed. The culture of the meet it changed because of that. And then now everybody that joins sees people at the meets all kicking butt. And they're like, I got to kick butt too. So then it just like keeps it going. But if you start ostracizing people, it's not like you're going to stop them from being a falconer or stop them from getting apprentices in the future. You're just going to have one class of like trash falconers potentially and one class of good falconers in the state. And I just think like you got to include everybody for good or for bad, because you got to be able to have a community that you can talk and communicate. And if you start alienating people, then it's not going to be good. That's my opinion.
I would agree with you. I think you should have the meet, lay down ground rules like we do in North Carolina, because you want to think that, okay, these are all adults coming to these meets. They know how to act. They do not know how to act. We had a meet down here. Actually, it was the last meet that I did as president. And we had these dumbasses. We rented like a county parks and rec facility. And we had Bob Glass down to speak, to talk about his book. and we have these dumbasses there who are drinking beer in the parking lot of like a county facility, Parks and Rec. And not only that, that's all, whatever you do. If you want to do that, that's fine. But then somebody told me, hey, there's a bunch of beer cans laying out in the parking lot. So then before the end of the speech from Bob, I had to get up and say, like, hey guys, I didn't call anyone out by name, but I was like, if you were drinking beer in the parking lot and you threw your cans down, please pick your cans up, is all I said. And people were pissed. The people who were drinking beer and throwing beer cans were pissed, and they were like talking shit and just crazy. But people also will sneak back to spots too. So you got to make it clear at the meet, hey, these spots belong to this person. They're the one that is sharing them with us. Do not return. Don't ask to return. You're being allowed to do it on this one occasion. And then if they can't abide by that, then you got big problems.
Yeah, but then I guess what Dave Parks was saying was he's like, yeah, we would say that and they would still do it anyway. And
I'd kick them out of the club.
Well, that's what kind of happened. And then the landowners are calling Dave and they're like, I just caught like 3 guys like, jumping over my fences and like, who are these people? Like, I didn't give them permission here, and it became like a big problem. So I guess if people are just being complete scumbags, then they got to be kicked out of the club. But it's just, listen, I'm not a club president. I don't know how I'd handle it, but there has to be some kind of a balance, I guess.
It's just people that don't know how to act. You or I would never do that.
No, you would ask, hey, you want to you around? You want to? I got spots we could hit, or we could hit some of your spots. What do you want to do? You want to go fly and try to like do it like that and like whatever. But like to just say, hey, can I go back to that spot that's yours? It's like no, like you don't do that. It's just you don't do
that. I'm reading a book right now. Well, it's actually I'm done with the book, but he said in it that he never asked to borrow because after borrowing comes begging. I was like, some people just have no, I don't know. They just don't know how to act, to put it. Those same people who were drinking beer at the meet, somewhere where they shouldn't be drinking beer, they were also at a property earlier in the day drinking beer, and the property is owned by these like really Orthodox Southern Christians who do not drink, do not hunt on Sunday. You don't do anything but go to church on Sunday. And they were on their property on Saturday drinking beer and like pushing deadfall trees over, just acting like jackasses.
Yeah. It's and down by you, I understand the challenge because that's what I was telling Dave. I said the Jersey meet's fun because every single spot we go to is just trespassing. And I'm like, it's not actually trespassing because they're all owned by like building companies that are going to, bulldoze everything and
And they're not posted.
And nobody really cares and people walk their dogs there. So the whole atmosphere is different. But I get the idea of the fact that it's like, and then we had a couple examples and they're talking about somebody and I'm like, yeah, well, that same person is now apprenticing people. He's now sponsoring people. So it's like now all the things you don't like about that person, he gets the chance to pass them down without any correction. Oh, well, I tried to help him and he did this. And so now I cut him off. And I'm like, at a certain point, it's like, you have to like, yeah, if somebody's just completely a dick, then yeah, you got to get rid of them. But for the betterment of the falconry community in your state, sometimes it's prudent to just work through issues and have discussions about stuff out in the open. Falconers are sensitive, and I get a little sensitive too. I mean, we're all kind of like, you know what I mean? It just is what it is. I mean, we're passionate people.
Yeah.
I was going to say, but the guys that left the beer at your club in the parking lot, were they from Rhode Island by any chance? Because those guys in Rhode Island, they love to just like litter everywhere. They think it's fun. I don't know. It's so weird.
They love to toss beer cans. No, these guys actually, they are from, they're not from North Carolina. One of them's from North Carolina. The others are from South Carolina and Georgia.
Uncivilized down there in South Carolina.
Well, it's like you got the reputation of being a redneck down here. And then you also have the reputation of people who are like buttoned up tight and prim and proper, about yes, sir, no, ma'am. Don't drink, real wound tight. So
Good point.
people are the same everywhere you go. You got great people and you got horrible people.
And some people in between.
That's right. So
tell me about your trip, man. I'm dying to hear about it.
Well, I was going to ask you what, before we jump to that, summarize the thing with Bobby in DC.
Yeah, okay. So basically it was just Tom Cullen, friend of the show. He has a relationship with Bobby, and Bobby had a Health and Human Services, I guess like an annual party that they have, and because Bobby is a falconer, he wanted to have birds of prey there to like make it fun and like entertaining, and he rented out. I didn't realize that they don't own the house anymore. He rented out his uncle's personal house from when he was in the Senate and when he was president, John F. Kennedy. So we were at John F. Kennedy's personal house that he used to live in, which is that place is ridiculous, but in a classy way, not like this BS that I work at, like classy. Everything was done real nice, and there was 350 people there. Tom said, he's like, "Hey, would you like to come?" And then I said, "Yeah, of course, I'll be there." And then Bobby texts me, "You're coming, right?" And I'm like, "Why does Bobby text me?" And I told Tom he texted me, and Tom's like, "What? He texted you? He doesn't text me like that." And so I, and then I answer. He doesn't answer back, obviously, because he was just trying to be nice. So then we get there. Harrison was there. Teddy was there. Dave Parks was there. Two other gentlemen from Maryland were there that are great guys. I cannot remember their names off the top of my head right now. It's a long day. And Teddy was there. And then, then I don't even want to bring it up because it's like I'm going to sound rude, but somehow this like nature center got invited. And they have like volunteers that like work at the nature center. And it was an absolute, and they brought, I see everybody pulled in, everyone's like on the side, like this, where the slaves, I guess, would live and enter the property. So that's where we all parked. And I pull in there and I see everybody that I know. I see Brian, Tom's uncle, was there. He's like a professional. He does bird shows and stuff. So he was there. Tom was there, Teddy. And then I see like a bunch of people that I don't recognize, and they all had hawk boxes. And I'm like, who are these people? So I get out, whatever, I say hi. We start loading up and like putting our perches out and everything like that. And I'm like, Tom, who are these people? And he's like, oh, those are like it's like a nature center or something. Like they have like an outreach program for like inner city kids, and they get to work with the birds and do stuff like this. I'm like, oh, that should be fun. He's like, yeah, fun. And I said, all right. How bad could it be? So the program starts. Tom starts talking, and Tom's like, front and center with the microphone. He's got to keep everything going, being entertaining, and he's good at that. But there's a lot of pressure. But before all that, before Tom was talking, it was like you had to mingle in the party. So you had to hang out with all the lizard people and talk to them and show them the birds. And I hate to harp on these people, but it was very. I have to talk about it because they pull out a barred owl. No, a barn owl. I think there was a barred owl, red tail.
Did the barred owl have one eye?
Yeah, they were all like injured birds, like the red tail, like its wing was drooping a little bit. They're all like non-releasable, like rehab birds that are in education now. So they're walking around. I mean, the leashes are not tied off. Like it was really bad. Like the one owl baited and like landed on the other guy and was like crawling up his back. And they're like trying to get it off of him. Like in all these people, like these very wealthy, like
was
government.
He like, shit.
He was like, shit, my fault. And then, but it was, and I'm just like, oh my God, whatever. And then the way everything went was we started off with Megan flew her parrot, which was so cool. It knew what to do too. She doesn't even do that all the time. She does like a little stuff here and there. But really she just goes to parks and flies it. And then, so this thing, like it flies, it leaves her hand and goes up, goes around the crowd, like over everybody's head, like 3 or 4 times. then lands in a tree, and then it like took a little too long to come down. So just like for the sake of like keeping everything smooth, she walked down and called it down to like a nut or something, and it came down. And then Brian Cullen flew his Harris Hawk to a lure machine. And for whatever reason, I meant to bring this up to Tom because I wasn't happy with it. He had like a stuffed animal as a lure, and it's like a stuffed animal fox, like a small one, like the size of a squirrel, but it was like red and with a white stomach. And it just like the Harris Hawk didn't want to hit it because it's like, what the heck is that thing? But so it flew. So basically, it was like from the fist, and the lure is flying across the grass. Everybody's up on the hill on the patio watching. And then as I'm watching everybody up on the patio watching, I see some guy just eating all the food up there. I'm like, why does that guy look so familiar? So I take my phone out and I zoom in on him like a creep. And I'm like, that's Dr. Oz. I'm like, Dr. Oz is up there. And so Dr. Oz was there. And then Brian's bird eventually, it didn't actually hit the lure, but it eventually came down. And everybody, these people don't know. So just the fact that the bird's flying in the general direction of the thing on the ground, they're like, oh my God, oh, lovely. And so then he puts that bird away. And then Tom the whole time is like talking, because he knows how to like keep it going. And, and then Brian pulls out a jeer and did a couple passes to the lure with the jeer. And it was at one point comes in, swings past and goes up and Brian's so low because the yard's so low. And then there's like a hill and then the patio and then the deck. So like there's people up on the deck, people on the patio, people on the grass. And when the bird made the pass, it realizes in order to get enough height to go around, it has to like fly like an inch over everybody's head. And then at the last minute, it has to go like basically vertical to get up over the patio. And I think its stomach like bumped, like not even bumped, but like just touched someone's hair. It was so funny. And everybody was laughing. And then it circled back around, came in like, 70 miles an hour. And that was fun. And then I didn't like the way that Harris Hawk flew at that lure machine. So I started getting like a little, so I wasn't even supposed to fly my bird. I was supposed to just take her out and walk around with her. And I told Harrison, I said, do you have this, I want to fly my bird, but do you have anything in your bag? He said, I got a frozen rabbit in my truck. We could put that in the lure. So he's like, you got to make sure it's okay with Tom because it's a dead rabbit, these people here and stuff like that. So Harrison goes to get it. I run up through the crowd, kind of sneak around like backstage per se. And I like whisper in Tom's ear and I'm like, Harrison has a frozen rabbit. I want to fly my bird to the lure. He's like, are you sure? She's good? She's good to go? I'm like, I think so. I'm like, I hope so. He's like, you really? I was like, yeah, I don't care. Who cares? I was like, and it wasn't to show off. It was just like for the bird to develop, like 350 people there. She was ready to go. I was actually trying to see if I could go hawking like after that event. Obviously that was a stupid idea. So she was at weight ready to go. And so Harrison runs and get it. I give him the thumbs up. I pull the bird out and I like tease the crap out of her. Like I got her fired up, like I pull her out of the box. She sees all the people and kind of like slicks down a little bit. So I pull out a quail and I'm like touching her feet with it while she's like staring at all these people like bug-eyed. She looks down and sees it and then tries to foot it. And I pull it away. And then she's like trying to get it. And so then I'm teasing her with it. And then I chuck it on the ground and she starts baiting at it, like beat, 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 beat. And I'm like, so I shield it with my body, pick it up, put it back in my bag, put the GPS in her tail, unclip her, walk out like 50 feet. And then I give Harrison the thumbs up and he just clicks the lure machine and this carcass just goes hauling ass across the grass in front of everybody. And she just, typical fashion, just smoked it. I mean, she flew kind of crappy to be honest, but she set her wings at the end, but she flew and just smoked it right in the grass. And then everyone was like, oh, and then I run over. And then as soon as that was over, everybody like turned around and started mingling. And I'm like,
they didn't care.
They didn't really care. No. And it doesn't matter to me. I just wanted her to fly in front of other people. And then I traded her off to a quail and then walked purposely up into the crowd so she could eat like in the crowd. Like, cause I want her just to get completely, she's already like kind of desensitized to it, but I wanted to just really get that out of her. And as I'm walking up there coincidentally, Dr. Oz is walking on the outside of the crowd in between me and the grass, like I guess trying to go around to talk to somebody. And I'm like, Dr. Oz, big fan. I'm not, but I'm like, big fan. I'm like, can we get the picture? He's like, He's like, you want a picture with me? I want a picture with you. He's hilarious. And then he comes around, and then this guy, he stands like on the top of the hill, and I'm on the bottom of the hill, and I'm like, Dr. Oz, I'm short, man. Like, can we like? He's like, oh, he's like, you're right. That doesn't look good. He's like, I'm a doctor. I should know this. So then he like swings around, gets behind
I'm not
me.
really a doctor.
Yeah, I don't know. And then he gets behind me, but then he's still way taller than me. So then he's like, you know what? Watch this. He crouches down next to me, and he whispers to me. He's like, now you're gonna look like a giant. I got you. It was so funny. And we got a bunch of pictures, and then Bobby walks over with Brian's gear, and we all got a big picture together. It was fun, and Dr. Oz wanted his photographer to take a bunch of pictures, and I was promised I would get the photos, but good luck with that, I guess, right? You know,
are you looking at Dr. Oz's social media? They might be on there.
I was like, Dr. Oz, I DM'd him. I was like, Dr. Oz, where's my pictures, man? I want those pictures. I just get blocked.
Oh, they go straight into the spam folder.
Yeah. And it was, no, it was fun. You know, it's just like, and it was, and this is the thing is like, people may have already been tuning out just because of we're talking about the event. And I mean, I literally lost, me and you didn't even talk about this. I lost 1,000 followers from that picture, that one picture. 1,000 people unfollowed me. Insane.
So that's the interesting thing is about this is like, we want to get Bobby Kennedy on because we think it'd be interesting, but would it even necessarily be good for the show to have him on?
My personal opinion, and you probably agree, is like, who gives a shit? He's been a Falconer for 35 years.
That's how we operate. That's how we operate, right?
Exactly.
We don't.
And it's not that we have it's not that. Sorry, Aaron, to interrupt you, but it's not that we don't have respect for our audience. It's the fact that he's done really cool things. Agree or disagree with his opinion on certain things, that's fine. I don't agree with everything he says. I don't even know who Dr. Oz is really. Just I saw him on TV a couple times, and I'm like, whatever. I want a picture. But the point of the event, and this is why, and this is what I tried to explain to people, but people like this one kid was calling me a disgrace to falconry.
In your Instagram.
Yeah, my Instagram. He said that he's like he wrote this whole thing out. He's like, historically speaking, you're a disgrace to all the falconers that have come before you. And then he said some other stuff to me, and I wouldn't. That was a kid.
Every falconer is a wonderful person.
Yeah,
every single one.
Yeah. And me and this kid were going back and forth, and then I was like trolling the living crap out of him. I was like,
well, you were barely saying things.
No, I didn't even answer him once. And then he starts DMing me all this crazy shit. So I screenshot it and then put it on my story. And it was hilarious. People were loving it. It was so funny. And he starts going crazy. Then he messages the podcast DM. He's like, get me on your show and we can have this debate. So that I can obviously see that too. So then I screenshot that and post it back on my personal Instagram. And then he was freaking out, And then I ended up having a long conversation with him. And it was really good. And then he completely saw my point of view and apologized to me for talking like that, which was hilarious.
Oh.
And to go from
I didn't know that part.
Oh, yeah. I could send you the screenshot. He ended up being a nice kid. He's from Colorado. He's been a falconer since he was 12. Because I asked him, I said, how many head of game did you catch last year? How many birds have you flown? He's like, well, I'm having a hiatus because I'm in school. And I'm like, that's okay. I'm like, so you're not flying right now. And I'm like, you're saying I'm a disgrace. He's like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm in school. And I'm like, yeah. When I was in school, what did I fly? I didn't fly a red tail. I flew Merlins. I kept them in my car, hooded, so I could go fly in between classes. And that's like that. Maybe that's not a flex because I probably wasn't taking school as seriously as this kid may be. But like, and I was, and he's like, oh, you didn't need to do all that on your story. I'm like, you publicly called me a disgrace to all the falconers that came before me. I said, what do you think's going to happen? You know what I mean? Well, and he's like, well, I don't understand. This is the most anti-land conservation administration that we've ever had. And I said, when have I ever said I agree with any of that? He's like, well, I just assumed by the picture. I said, just listen, and I'm going to probably make a video or something about this because it needs to be said. If you have the opportunity to pull birds of prey out and have all these fucking lizard people ask you questions about falconry, and you can talk to these people face to face and explain to them what falconry is, why it's good, why it's conservation, and then they walk away saying, wow, I didn't even know that. That's so cool. Thank you. And then they walk away and they take a picture. Like, you can't pay money unless you're a lobbyist to have that opportunity to stand in front of these people and explain this stuff to their faces. You know what I mean? You could just make an obscure post here and there. And I said to him, I said, I don't think I'm some kind of thing. And he's like, your podcast, your bullshit podcast. I said, bullshit podcast. I said, what have you done for falconry in the last year? He's like, well, that's not the point. I said, well, we had NAFTA's vice president on. We're pushing them to do different things. We're trying to get trapping open in Connecticut. We're really trying to push for this stuff. We're trying to do good work with the podcast. He's like, oh shit. He's like, I listened to a couple episodes. I didn't realize that. All right. Like, listen, man, I apologize. Maybe I misjudged you. I'm like, just because I joke around that I'm right wing. I said Trump's pissing me off. I said, I'm not a Trump supporter right now. What he's trying to do, I'm not happy with what he's doing. I said, there's no like falconer, outdoorsman, hunter that is okay with anything to do with buying up public land and putting Section 8 housing on it. Like, you're out of your mind, or putting mines on it. Like, you're out of your mind if you think that just because you like Trump and maybe what he stands for, but we're automatically okay with him just butchering, public land and putting shit on it. Nobody's okay with that. I'm not okay with that. I strongly oppose that. And just because Bobby's in his cabinet, that doesn't mean that Bobby's okay with it. I can guarantee you Bobby's not okay with that. I'll text him right now and ask him. He definitely won't answer, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So, like, that's the point, is like, people can't read between the lines. Like, we're there talking about falconry with 350 very powerful people. Like, it's a very good opportunity for falconry as a whole.
Well, like I told you, and everybody knows that me and you have different politics for the most part. Maybe not even for the most part. Some of it is different.
No, I'm kind of liberal now, and you're getting a little bit more, rational.
So, but all of my friends, for the most part, are conservative people. And we get along great. Like, we have fun. There's very little that we disagree on as far as being human beings and our values as human beings. And it's sad that we're at a point now where people have made politics their personality, and that they decide who they like and don't like as a human being based on how they vote. It's just 100%, it's pathetic.
Yeah. As your apprentice Lee would say, it's all done by design. It's all a conspiracy. It's not even a conspiracy. It's done on purpose to divide us, to make us fight with each other. You know what I mean? I can go hawking with the most liberal person ever. Who cares? Whatever. We're going to fly. If you fly your bird good, I want to hawk with you. I don't care.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're interested, if you're, and I said this on the other time when Tom was on, like, if Hillary Clinton was like, let's go fly birds, I'd be like, fuck it. Let's go fly birds. Who cares? You get to see falconry. We get to talk about falconry, and maybe I can sway you. Who cares? Like, it's for the betterment of our sport. You know what I mean?
And Bobby is vilified because he's part of the administration that so many people don't like. And I kind of get that. If you really don't like the Trump administration, you're not going to like, a secretary in the Trump cabinet. I get it. But, I think it would do everyone some good to have some more nuanced views about people, and not just paint with such a broad brush across the board.
Yeah, I agree. And we had another guy, he listens to the show, probably listening right now. And, he was saying a bunch of stuff about Bobby and stuff like that. And I said, should he have refused the position that was offered to him? And he was like, yeah, he should have. I'm like, that makes no sense. I said, that's stupid.
Yeah. I mean, what good would that do?
Yeah. He's like, oh, he could just continue his fight, from the outside for all this. And I said, don't you think he could do a lot better on the inside if he's literally down the hall from Trump, or had a phone call away from Trump? Don't you think he could have a little bit more sway if he's right in front of the guy, part of his administration? I said, because I know Bobby's not in support of any of this stuff. I said, no way he is, obviously. Like, just because he's part of it, he's trying to make us healthy. He's not trying to take the land. That's not his department.
He just ran for president, and you could look at his platform, and if you think he's actually changed from that in a year or whatever it is, year and a half, then I think you're probably wrong. He's got a long history as an environmentalist. He's a vaccine skeptic. He is anti, like all the food dyes and chemicals in foods. And that's really like I think what he's doing now in his current role is focusing on vaccines and the additives in food.
100%.
We'll see if he's successful, but
I mean, all this is what I say to people is like, you can disagree with the vaccine stuff, you can disagree with that stuff, but I said, just my personal rationale, and unless I see Bobby in an interview saying, yeah, the land could be used way better for mining, but then I would be like, all right, this guy is like just a complete, like he's full of it. I have not seen anything like that. And this is a guy that made his living off of suing big corporations for destroying the environment. And this literally for his whole career, that's what he does. And you're going to tell me that just because he's part of the cabinet, now all of a sudden he's okay with just destroying the land? No, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true.
And like Jim had said in a previous episode, he came and spoke in favor of legalization of falconry in Connecticut, right?
Yeah, he took time out of his schedule, drove all the way to Connecticut, stood up in front of, the judicial system and like gave a fiery speech about falconry. And I mean, I would imagine that had some sway in the reason why falconry is legal in that state. You know what I mean?
Yeah, guarantee it.
So like his heart is in the right place.
Out there that are being judgmental, what have you done for falconry?
Yeah, look at yourself in the mirror right now and ask yourself, what have I done?
Wipe those tears away from your eyes and say,
yeah.
What have I done for falconry?
Yeah, and like like I'm listening. It's just like yeah, like I voted for Trump, but I'm not happy with what he's doing right now. I'm not happy one bit. You know what I mean? Not at all.
Careful, we're going to lose our Trump voters. We got a good thing going. They're like, all right, Aaron's a Kamala guy. He's a Trump guy.
yeah, but I mean, like, listen, like I like what he does in some other areas, but the whole land thing, like, keep your greedy builder development fingers off of the public land.
Like, actually, we don't care because we're so far away from it. To all you West Coast people out there, say, welcome to the real world. Have fun hawking behind Home Depot like me and Casey do.
Yeah, like that one. Like
actually,
that one
didn't
guy.
One of those assholes say something like that?
Dude, he's like, oh, the idea, like he was like, he just started like blanket insults to the East Coast falconry community. And I'm like, okay, dude, take it easy, man. Like,
tranquilo.
Why you gotta attack everybody in the East Coast because of a fucking picture?
It was like the epitome of falconry on the East Coast is hawking behind Home Depot.
Yeah, dude. I'm sorry, man. Not all of us can hunt with a fucking T-perch in sneakers and catch our limit of rabbits. Oh, there is no limit because they're a nuisance animal because you can catch them all year round. Like you live in a fantasy land. Bring your sneakers and your board shorts to the East Coast and try to catch game. You'll give up. Or you'll get a dachshund. One of the two. You know what I mean? And it's like we harp on this all the time, and there's like this fight back and forth. And like I'm so sick of like the argument. Like it's not even an argument. It's harder to catch game on the East Coast than it is out west. End of discussion. You're catching 200 head a year. That's the equivalent of 80 head of here on the East Coast. That's it. End of discussion. I don't want to hear anything else about it. That's my personal opinion. You know what I mean? This guy's like, oh, Home Depot. It's like, yeah, okay. I'm gonna drive 2.5 hours to some farm country to fly. After work, you dumbass, it'll be dark by the time I get there. I have nowhere else to
you may or may not have permission at. These people.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, trust me, I'm jealous of the land access out.
Well, of course, it's just like, yeah, my anger and the way that I'm stating it in such like this angry way is purely jealousy. Because I wish I could go out in sneakers and catch a bunch of rabbits. I would love my life. But don't judge us because we have to go behind Home Depot to catch a couple rabbits. That's all we got right now because they're destroying everything that we have.
Yeah.
And no one's okay with it.
Yeah. So let's hope those guys and gals out there on the West Coast get to keep their land. Let's hope Bobby Kennedy can do something productive for falconry. And the talks are ongoing. We're hopeful. Based on our conversation with NAFA, they're hopeful. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. A lot of stuff going on, and it's exciting. It's good to be in that situation and agree with them or not. his nephew took my phone number down. They said him. It's crazy because Bobby's nephew is obviously aligned with Bobby's views. He's like in business now with one of Don Jr.'s good friends, hunting buddies, and they just bought a big piece of property, and now they want to have a bunch of falconers come down there and give them free reign of the place. You know what I mean? So and that's because his nephew has gone to every single RFK event that pertains to birds. He goes, he loves it, takes a bunch of pictures. When he saw me at the event this last weekend, he came up to me, like, give me a big high five, hug. I don't even really know him. He's just like, dude, we just bought this property. There's rabbits and squirrels everywhere. He's like, you guys got to come. Okay, get all your buddies and come hawk it. You guys can hit it whenever you want. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all good stuff. It's all good for falconry. It's good for the view. And the other partner is Chess McDowell. He's a lobbyist. These are people that have influence, and they love it. They think it's fascinating. Chess hunts all over the world. We're trying to get Chess on the show right now. Chess said, what did he say, Aaron? He said it's the coolest form of hunting he's ever seen in his life. Mm-hmm. And this is a guy that has money and hunts all over the world. He said, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in terms of hunting. So you just give it a chance. Like, what am I going to say? No, I'm not going to the event because Bobby's going to be there and he doesn't believe in vaccines, so I'm going to stay home. It's like, no, you just go. You pull your bird out, you talk.
This lobbyist that's friends with Don Jr., I'm not going to go because I don't agree.
Yeah, he lobbies for something I don't like, so I'm not going to associate with him. It's like, dude, you want to live your life like that? That's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like we're on the cusp of getting some stuff done for falconry on a national level. And
cusp, bro, we're kicking the door down. Like we're getting stuff done. Stuff's going to happen.
Yeah,
we're not gonna sleep until it gets done, and that's what we're doing. You know what I mean? I think we went a little gentle on Heath. I think we could have pushed Heath a little harder on that episode. I'm assuming that episode already came out, right, Aaron?
We'll see if it comes out before or after. So, in the interest of full disclosure, we spoke to Laura Hazlett, who's the president of the American Falconry Conservancy. And then the next guest we had was Heath Garner from the vice president of NAFA. And, I haven't listened back to the episode with Laura, but I'm sure we were critical of NAFA on the episode. I'm sure we were.
We didn't go hard. You just kept baiting her to find out why they are what they are and if they have beef with NAFA. I just remember that. And she wouldn't
really
take the bait. No, she didn't take the bait at all. She was like, no, NAFA does their thing. We do our thing. And basically
it doesn't sound like the American Falconry Conservancy sees NAFA as like a rival or an enemy. They exist outside of NAFA.
Correct. That's the vibe I got. But from NAFA's point of view, speaking with Heath, they view it a little differently. They don't like the fact that the Falconry Conservancy will litigate against the state and the government all the time.
Mm-hmm.
With success, by the way. Like in California, they just got something passed where like now you can do bird shows with your bird and educational programs, and you can charge whatever you want and you can say whatever you want. As before, I think it's a federal thing, right, Aaron? Where when you're doing education, you have to stick to the script that the government tells you to.
I'm not so sure.
I think it's federal. If you do educational programs in relation to falconry, you have to touch on all these topics by law. And the Falconry Conservancy said that that infringes on your free speech. You shouldn't be compelled to say what they tell you to say. You can say whatever you want, and you should be able to charge whatever you want because you're taking time out of your life to go do it. And it passed, and they won the lawsuit. So now in California, you could charge $5,000 to go to a school and give a speech and not go to jail or not get your birds repossessed or get your door kicked in the morning at 5 a.m. by the game warden. So but NAFA's view is that litigating and getting confrontational, it just ends up with being on bad terms with the government. And then it could just be bad for falconry as a whole. And Aaron had a good point, not throwing under the bus. And not to give away any spoilers, but Aaron pushes back against NAFA and says, well, our rights have been eroding as falconers ever since, as long as NAFA's been around. Can you explain that? Why is that? So you have this passive approach and view on being a falconry organization, but they just keep taking more of our rights away and walking all over us, and you're not doing anything. So I see it both ways. Falconry Conservancy is kind of like my point of view. Like, okay, if you're going to keep doing this, we're just going to start litigating. You know, grizzly bears. When grizzly bears were listed as endangered, just as an example, it said when they reach this number in the state, then they will be managed like a wild game population, like any other wild game population. As soon as the bears reached that point, people that didn't want to see bears get hunted started suing the government and the state to stop hunters from having the opportunity to go hunt them. And now you cannot hunt them. The lower 48, there's like no state that you can hunt a grizzly bear.
There's not. There's talk of Wyoming. They say Wyoming should open up take.
Right, but they keep getting sued every time it goes to a vote. They keep
these
getting
conservation
sued.
Groups have no problem suing.
But that's my point. NAFA, Falconry Conservancy, they're conservation groups. If they are starting to remove rights from us, then we should start litigating to have it changed. If they're not going to respect us through a phone call or an email or a letter, then you just sue them and say, no, this is not acceptable. So NAFA is very opposed to that. And I see both ways. I see both.
We could make a list of things across the board. Like it's usually a state by state thing. So the federal government seems like it's more or less okay at this point in time. But we talk about broken record, eagle take.
Aaron, I have to interrupt you because this is a very interesting point.
Breaking news.
No, it's not breaking news, but this is another point about the Trump administration that people don't want to talk about. The second Donald Trump got in, like the next day, the president of like the Federal Fish and Wildlife Agency, who is extremely anti-falconry, and we've known this forever, he immediately was removed from his position. And the person that took his place is who Heath and the president of NAFA went and met with in DC and spoke with him, and were able to have a really good conversation with him. And he's very receptive to falconry. But the guy before him, under the Biden and all the other administrations, hated falconry. He got some bad, somebody told him something bad about falconry. And after that, he wanted to make our lives hell. As soon as Trump got in, he was removed from his position and another guy took his place. So yeah, Trump wants to butcher our land. I don't like that. But now we have an actual human being that is open to the idea of falconry and is not going to be adversarial to us about falconry at every turn. This could really open up doors for us. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like stuff and he talked about that on the episode. So I'll
tell you, I was a little discouraged that Laura Hazlett and Heath Garner both didn't really seem to have any kind of fire in their belly about the eagle take. So that tells me that we're going to have the Sporting Chance Amendment to the Eagle Protection Act.
Dude, at this point, we'd have a better shot of getting it done than waiting for anybody else to do it because nobody else is going to do it. 5 permits per year. 5 permits per year. Only in Wyoming.
Might be 6, but
6, right? It's 6 permits per year only in Wyoming, but then they're handing out depredation permits in every other state like candy to all these farmers. So it's almost to the point now where we should reach out to these conservation organizations that love to sue people and say, hey, we're a group of falconers. We think that instead of these farmers shooting these eagles every time they kill a lamb and they get a permit to shoot them, a falconer should be able to come and trap that bird. Don't you agree with us? And they'd be like, oh my God, you're right. They're killing eagles. You're right. And then they start suing. Actually, I think that, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to play the game. You got to play the game. You got to get the conservation organizations. I'm sure that they would much rather see an eagle that's going to get a bullet in his head get taken by a falconer to be flown and possibly released in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like an easy sell to me.
We'll see what happens. So, anyway, I'm not sure how we got off on that.
Yeah, we can get back on track.
Exciting stuff coming up, though. Yeah, good stuff coming up. All right, you want to talk about my trip?
Yeah, of course. Mine was like I just showed up and talked about birds for a little while. Yours was like, you were like rolling deep. You were at like these fancy places. You had like meat eater guys hanging out with you, and then you're big timing me on the phone.
Yeah, sending you straight to voicemail.
Yeah, I call him. It goes to voicemail, and then he answers, and he's like, "Hey, what can I do for you?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Listen, I'll give you a call later. All right, pal.
I'll give you a buzz later."
Yeah, I'll give you a buzz later. And then like as he's hanging up, I just hear like in the background. I'm like, "Oh my god, this guy's big timing me now." At some fancy ranch down there. Talk about it. I want to hear.
It's all true. Yeah, it's all true. So for those of you not aware, I paid up to go out west to Texas to trap a wild Harris hawk. So there was a comment, Casey. Actually, it was my post. It wasn't a Sporting Chance post. There was a comment from someone, and they said, "Wow, I'm surprised this is the direction you went." It's a picture of a Harris hawk. They said, "Hopefully, this means that we'll get a wider array of birds covered on the podcast."
Oh, what is there to cover? It's a Harris hawk. Just point and shoot. It's not that hard.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, we have a reputation for being anti-Harris hawk around here.
We're not anti-Harris hawk. They just need to be flown by certain people in certain scenarios. If you live out west in Arizona, fly one. Great. I will have nothing to say. If you live in upstate New York and it's 10 degrees out every single winter and it's like, why are you flying one?
What about North Carolina?
You should be, fly them in North Carolina. Have fun.
So to chronicle what's happened to me in the past 5 months, 4 months, my plan this year was to fly goshawk and a redtail. We have had kind of a historically low juvenile redtail take this year. Luckily, I got my hands on a decent sized female, but she has been like extraordinarily difficult to get going. And I'm finally ready to free fly her after a long period of time. So fingers crossed that she works out. And then my goshawk was killed on hack by probably, ironically enough, a redtail, maybe an eagle. So I was kind of left with, at the time when I put in for the permit in Texas to go trap a bird, I wasn't even sure I had a redtail that I could work with because she was so difficult. So I did enjoy the Passage Harris hawk that I flew from Arizona years ago. Just kind of a neat bird, a little different. Not as forgiving with rough handling and poor bad falconry as a captive born Harris hawk, but really gamey, really serious, quiet. That's a big plus. Captive Harris hawks tend to squawk. This bird was silent as a mouse. Just a really good bird that got right to it pretty quickly. And then, as we all know, Harris hawks they're hardy, and they generally do not get killed in the field. Now, we know it's possible. I know somebody who had one hit by a car in the field. It crossed over a road and the car clipped it and killed it. I had one that was electrocuted on a power pole. But as far as like fence collisions, window collisions, things like that, their flight style doesn't really lend itself to that. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do this whole Passage Harris hawk thing again. Give that a try. It was my best option at the time. So I pull the permit. I go to Texas. I link up with some people. I want to shout them out right now. Friend of the show, Brett Rees. He's the artist that does Devils of Dirt Hawking. He's a falconer up in North Texas near Dallas. Met a couple new people who I don't think I would have met were it not for the show. Matt Herrera and Evan Vanderpool. Linked up with those guys while I was down there. And friend of the show, Baron Newcomb from Meat Eater Podcast. He came down to video some of this and hang out. So got together with all those guys, went down to an undisclosed location in South Texas, drove 20 hours there, listened to Blood Meridian on audio, Casey, are you familiar with Blood Meridian?
No, it sounds like a metal band.
So it's known to be it has the reputation of being one of the most brutal books ever written, and also one of the best American fiction books ever written. It's a Western, and it's about a group of scalp hunters that are down in Mexico hunting natives down there. And it's just based on a true story of a veteran from the Spanish American War, or is it Mexican American War? I'm not a history guy. I'm sorry. But it was really like, it was probably the wrong book to listen to for 20 hours while I'm driving down there.
You thought you were going to get scalped when you got there?
It's just like the book is like purposely disorienting, and it's just violent and just not fun. It's just really, it's like a slog. It's really brutal. It's like hard to get through. It's
I literally just bought it on Audible, but it's only 13 hours. So what were you doing for the other 7?
I listened to
not answering my phone calls.
Well, you didn't call while I was driving down. I listened to Brian Plummer. I ordered from England a CD. It was the only audiobook that Brian Plummer ever did. So I listened to that, listened to some Toonskis. I might have listened to another book while I was on my way down too. But at any rate, listen to that. And a lot of it takes place in Texas. Drove through one of the places that took place, Nacogdoches. Saw an alligator in Houston while I was driving down the highway.
Really?
Yeah. Houston's a swamp, and it was pretty warm there still. And as I'm driving over the highway, I've seen many alligators, but I just see what looks like an alligator out in the water off of the bridge. Sure enough, drive by and boom, there it is, just kind of hanging out there. Texas is a weird state, man. You got swamps with alligators, and then you've got rocky mountainous deserts on the other side.
I think the alligators are a new phenomenon, right? They weren't always there.
I'm not sure about that. I would imagine that they've always been in Southeast Texas.
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong, bud. No, I heard somewhere that they weren't always there and they moved in. There's another podcast, and a falconer was talking about his harris hog that got killed by one.
Mm-hmm.
And I vaguely remember something like that. And he was talking about how they never were there and they're moving in now and stuff like that. It's interesting.
It wouldn't surprise me, but I bet there's always been some sort of alligator presence in Texas. There's probably just more of them now. So shout out to all the homies down there. Hopefully they're listening, because without them, I couldn't have got it done.
Good to have fun. So how many did you trap? Like talk us through it. You get to the hotel. Obviously, Aaron only stays in 5-star hotels.
The first place we go to is like a camp set up for oil workers. And it's little like, I don't know. It almost looks like the mobile units for school. I know you didn't go to
workers.
School. Yeah.
So the vending machine just has like shots of Fireball and condoms, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
And just hookers everywhere.
So Brett recommended this place.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah, he recommended this place, and he had stayed there before, and he said it was fine. And I just thought, if he recommends it, fine. It's not the type of place I would rent, but I rented it on Airbnb, and it's what you expect when you get there. But there's nothing. There's I think the prices of oil are down, so there's not a lot of people working the oil fields right now. So we get in there, and it's kind of a rundown, grungy place, but it's like the floors are clean. The sheets look kind of tattered. The walls are kind of dirty from being scuffed up and all.
With oil.
Yeah. The couch is disgusting. Nobody was about to sit on the couch. So that night I go out, and I'm Brett gets there before me, and then I get there after him, and we both head out separately to go look for birds. And Dude, while I was out there, just in like 30, 45 minutes, I saw probably like 10 pairs of Harris hawks. Yeah. I saw white-tailed hawks. And then I saw more great horned owls that evening before it got dark than I've seen my entire life.
Really?
Yeah, they're everywhere out there. They are
That's
everywhere.
crazy. What, like, where are they sitting? Like on power poles or like small
Yeah,
trees?
just sitting on poles.
Oh my gosh, that's super interesting.
They were everywhere, man. They were everywhere. So I didn't have too long. I didn't see any juvenile Harris hawks. So I head back. When I head back, Bear Newcomb gets there, and then Brett gets there right about the same time. We go in and we're unloading some stuff, and then I see across the counter a little thing scuttle across, and I'm like, "What was that?" And I go take a close look at it, and it's our friend La Cucaracha.
The cacarucha.
La
disgusting.
Cucaracha. So the whole night I was going.
That's nasty. In the room with you?
Yeah, I was in the kitchen on the counter, and I was like, all right, maybe this is like South Texas. Maybe there's just some cockroach presence. So I start looking around, and I see more and more cockroaches, and I'm like, good God, it's too late to get out of there. Like I put all my stuff in the truck. First of all, I was like, my stuff's not staying in here. So I brushed my teeth and all that, and I put all my possessions in the truck. So I laid, and I brought a little blanket. So I laid there on top of the sheets that were there and went to sleep. Next morning we get out and we go trapping. And my plan the whole time is we're going to get another hotel, but we're just going to go trapping. Once we get the hotel, we'll come back and we'll get our stuff. And Brett was like, I hope you get your money back. And I go, oh, I'm 100% getting my money back. That's not negotiable. So I get video evidence. I go in and I'm taking videos of cockroaches. I pull the freezer or the fridge back, and there's roaches that running everywhere, and like roach poop on the walls. And
That's
so I go up
disgusting.
to the desk.
Did you check for bed bugs?
That was my biggest concern, was bed bugs.
Yeah, because the cockroaches, they're not going to suck your blood while you're sleeping. So I'm more concerned with the bed
they're
bugs.
just gross. But the bed bugs was like, so we looked for bed bugs. We saw no bed bugs.
Good. Okay.
And then that night, none of us reported any bed bugs. So it was bed bug free.
Good.
So I go up to the desk and I go, and he's like, how can I help you? I go, I want a full refund. And he's like, okay. And like, he just immediately starts getting to work. And I was like, he's not even going to ask why.
You're in Texas though. Like, he pulls out a revolver.
This guy was not a Texan. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
He comes from another land.
Got it.
So he immediately gets to it, like starts working on my refund, and he calls the owner, and I tell the owner what's happening. And while I'm talking to her, I show him the video of the roaches running around. And I was just like, yeah, just give me a full refund. I won't leave you a bad review. I just want my money back. So
you gotta be careful, and that could be considered extortion. You start threatening.
Well, so far I haven't got my refund, so I need to call Airbnb. And if Airbnb doesn't help me, and I'm sure Airbnb will, because they don't want that. I will just call my credit card company and tell them I didn't stay here. Cancel the payment. So anyway, we go to a normal hotel, like a Marriott Hampton type of place, and it was great. I walk into that one, and immediately in the lobby, they've got like ice cold, like water with lemons in it, like the picture of it. I'm like, what a change from the roached end to this.
And I'm always suspicious of those. Nice hotels usually have that, but I'm always paranoid that like some crazy person's gonna like dump something in it, because you can just take the glass lid off, right?
Yeah, it was at their desk though.
All right.
I don't live my life in fear like you do, Casey.
Obviously, you're scared of cockroaches, apparently.
I think not wanting to sleep with cockroaches is a little more reasonable than being afraid somebody's going to poison your lemon water in a hotel.
Your lemon water, yeah. Good point. All right.
So that day, though, when we went out to trap, I mean, it's just traditional Harris hawk trapping. You drive around, you're looking for adults. When you see adults, you roll down the windows, you're listening for juveniles calling. You look for the mottled chest up there on the pole. It's just BC, classic BC with either gerbils or mice. Speaking of my shout out to Stewart. Did you see Stewart on Instagram?
I heard he's famous, little Stewart.
Yeah, Stewart. He's a South Texas trapping legend. Brett showed up with this little brown mouse, just a single little brown mouse in a BC. And Stewart, man, he was pulling hawks off of 75-foot poles. Dude, he was killing it, man.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it was. They were posting about it, and I'm like, dude, this little mouse is like no joke, man. This guy's not playing. You're trying to trap something, you gotta call Stewart. He'll get whatever you need. He'll get.
Bear loves Stewart. Bear loves Stewart so much so that later on, Bear picked up like who actually owns Stewart, which is Ryan Corlew. Shout out to Ryan. Ryan and Brett are like really tight falconry buddies. So like what Brett's spots are Ryan's spots and vice versa. So Ryan inadvertently helped out this whole trip, and by loaning Brett Stewart. So I named Stewart there. Apparently his name was like Artemis or something like that.
No, he's got to be Stewart. Stewart Little.
Hey,
That's
Stewart.
A better name. That's a better name.
So later on, we were talking about Ryan, and Brett was like, "Is that Stewart's owner?" And I was like, "Yeah, that is." And he like shook his head, like, "Yeah, he's a real one if he owns Stewart."
That's funny, man. That's hilarious.
And then the whole time I was there, I was asking everybody if they knew about Blood Meridian.
You were just traumatized from the books, and you just wanted to hear if anybody else has ever heard it.
Yeah, dude. Talk to people who have read Blood Meridian or listened to it, and they're going to be like, "Yeah, it's a trip, man. It's so bad. They've had a hard time making it into a movie because it's so brutal."
I'm about to listen to it tonight, and I'll give you my opinion on it. I like books like that.
Okay,
I like all that. It's like a Native American kind of a book.
You'll see. The guy who wrote it, he's the guy who wrote No Country for Old Men. He wrote what's The Road. Did you ever see that movie, The Road, with Viggo Mortensen?
I feel like I did see that movie.
It's about a father and son trying to survive in the apocalypse. Have you seen that?
Sounds extremely familiar. There's a lot of movies.
If you haven't seen it, like, go watch it. It's horrible. Like, it's just brutal too.
Right.
It's like it came out the same time as the Book of Eli with
that was a good movie. I saw
Book
that
of
one.
Eli was like fun and like
what do you mean fun, dude? That movie was crazy. He's like chopping people's hands off with a machete. He's blind, dude.
This movie is like the father-son. They have a gun with like 2 bullets in it. They're going around. They'll find barns and they're digging around for hay seeds because they're so hungry. Every plant on Earth is dead. Anytime you see another human being, like you either need to kill them or hide because they're probably going to try and eat you.
Sounds like a good movie, to be honest.
It is a good movie, but
it's called The Road.
It's called The Road. Yeah.
So tonight, when we end, I'm going to watch that movie with my wife, and then I'm going to go to bed listening to Blood Meridian.
Trust me, do not watch that movie with her. She's going to be even more.
Bro, what are you kidding me? She loves that stuff. She loves all that gory stuff. She thinks it's great. So weird.
The movie's not even gory. It's just depressing and bleak is what the movie is.
Right up her alley. Good thing she doesn't listen to the podcast.
Yeah, she's going to be even more paranoid about the world and people after watching that.
Oh, speaking of my wife, the whole event with RFK, she was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody decided to have a hissy fit in the morning at 4:30 in the morning.
She would have loved to have met Dr. Oz, wouldn't she?
She doesn't really care.
She doesn't care about Dr. Oz.
No, she's like she doesn't care about any of that stuff. But she met Bobby a bunch of times. Like I said in another episode, he remembered her name.
But you pulled a fast one on her by mentioning. You said that Don Jr. was there and was asking about her.
No, I texted her. I said you're not going to believe it. Candace Owens is here, and she was so mad at me, and she didn't answer me because I was like, "Oh, good morning," because I was driving at like 5 a.m. So I text her at like 8:30. I'm like, "Good morning," no answer. How are the kids? No answer. And then I text her, Candace Owens is here, and then she answers. She's like, "Really?" I'm like, yeah, she's right here. She's like, send me a picture. I'm like, there's a lot of people around her. And then she's like, no, you got to get a picture. I'm like, all right, I'm going to try. And I just let her on the whole day. She thought it was hilarious.
I'm glad she's got a sense of humor.
Yeah, she got a sense of. That's the only. Yeah, yeah. If I married anybody without a sense of humor, I would be divorced. Anyway,
so yeah, the Harris Hawks. It was pretty easy trapping. I'd like to report it was dramatic and all, but it wasn't. Saw a lot of caracaras while I was down there. We saw while we were out trapping, we saw somebody out in a helicopter hunting. Like they were like flying over the field and like tilting the helicopter down and like going over the brush, like trying to run something out. And you could see a dude hanging out of the side with a gun.
that's so cool.
It was wild. Yeah, it was wild. And then texting my friend Evan who lives on a ranch down there. He was telling me I told him like, hey, I mentioned I've always had this interest in javelina and I've always wanted to hunt javelina. I mentioned that to him and he said, yeah, I got a bunch of javelina around here. And I told him like, what? So maybe if we were successful trapping in the beginning of the week, I can come down and maybe I can hunt some javelina. He goes, well, it sounds like you're pretty optimistic about your chances trapping if you think you're going to have time to hunt javelina. And I said, yeah, well, we'll see. And then when I texted him about the birds we caught, I said, so it seems like I was right to be optimistic and see you tomorrow. So we go down even farther south and we go to his ranch and it was just absolutely incredible. Like so awesome. So awesome. We're
Talk
like
about it.
thousands of acres. Like the ranch is thousands of acres and it's been in that family, I think he said for 8 generations. So the first people on that ranch were from Spain and they were, they got the ranch from the Kingdom of Spain back in like 1800s. Before it was America, obviously, before that property was on America.
You didn't tell me all that. 8 generations?
Yeah.
In his family.
Huh?
In his personal family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
As we're driving around, he shows us there's the crypts above ground, like mausoleum crypt things.
I don't know what that is. The only crypts I know, they're from California. We got Bloods in New York.
Yeah, no. These this is cartel country, Casey. There's
Crips and Bloods wouldn't last very long down there, I'd imagine.
Probably not. They're the above ground stone burials, and they were like hundreds of years old there. It's like the original family.
In the Bible, we call that a tomb.
A tomb. So it'd be a tomb. But the age of it was really the cool part. So he also metal detects on the property and finds like some super cool, like Civil War stuff, revolution, maybe no, not revolutionary stuff. I'm not a history guy. I already said that.
Mexican. It's the Mexican War, right?
Yeah, Mexican American War stuff.
Yeah,
so there's like United. He has some U.S. Army buckles, like belt buckles. He has some Confederate belt buckles. He's got all bunch of pieces of guns. You know, all types of little odds and ends.
That's crazy. What was that? What's the house like? The house is nice or fancy or what?
So his house was a former like cowboy house that they built onto and improved upon. So there wasn't really much to it. It was just like a little shelter and they just kind of built onto it, but it's a beautiful house now.
Yeah. Keep it simple. I like that.
So his property is full of, beautiful white-tailed deer. He sees horned lizards there, Texas tortoises, indigo snakes, western diamondbacks. He sees the shakalacas there. I guess it's the Rio Grande turkeys, the southwestern turkey species. And we went out looking for javelina. So for those of you not aware, javelina are not pigs. They're in the peccary family. Peccary look like pigs, but they split from pigs at a certain point. And they're this really bristly, wild looking little creature. I shot a boar from about 70, 80 yards away, according to Bear. I said, what do you think that was, 60 yards? And he said, I think that was about 70 or 80 yards.
What kind of gun did you shoot it with?
It was a 270. And I like 270, man. I need to get a 270.
I'm very familiar. I mean, it's a good gun.
But it was Evan's gun, and he handed it to me, and we shot a couple bags of corn with it. And if you didn't notice the split on my forehead, I got a little too comfortable in the scope.
You can't stick your eyeball right to the scope, Aaron.
No, it wasn't that close to it, but it got me right in the forehead, which it's all good.
Yeah, you don't realize that. Like, those suckers kick like a shotgun. Like a 270, it gives it's a decent gun.
It's been a long time since I shot a 270. Usually if I shoot a rifle, it's a 12 gauge or a 22. So I need to buy a 270. I'm actually looking right now for a 270.
When you shoot a 270, I heard your testosterone goes up a little bit too.
Oh,
get a little
good.
Spike.
Good.
Get a little spike.
Yeah, we know I need that.
But Aaron, you're going around the entire thing. Like, how many birds did you trap? Like, I think with your permit you can trap a caracara. You didn't trap a caracara. Like,
I tried. So my permit, I could trap anything in Texas besides, basically besides a peregrine falcon and a golden eagle, but almost anything else I could trap. So I wanted to get my hands on a caracara just to mess with it. And so I threw the trap for caracaras, but I couldn't get to come to a trap.
You got to throw a lizard in that trap.
Yeah, I was a little more focused on an actual game hawk, because we all know a caracara is not a game hawk, but I thought it'd be cool to at least get my hands on one and get a picture with one. To answer your question, Casey, we trapped 3 birds that day.
Okay.
And that was all we wanted to see what the keepers were going to be out of that. So not all the birds were kept. We'll put it that way. But we wanted to get weights on them and check the temperament. And I ended up keeping the most chill one. And the very first manning session, it was taking food out of my fingers on its own.
Oh, wow. And
then the very second manning session, bending over and eating quail breasts off the glove.
How'd the kill feel?
It was not fat, right? But it was definitely out there doing its own thing. So awesome. I'm happy with what I got.
Yeah, man. And the trip, everything about it. That's amazing.
Yeah, man. It was awesome. It was really cool. And Bob, I want to impart this on everybody out there. My sponsor, Bob Pendergrass, he told me he regrets not having more pictures of the people from all of his trips and adventures and field meets and things like that. He said, going back and looking at his old pictures, it's all of birds. And he regrets not having more pictures of the people and less pictures of the birds. So that's kind of the cool thing about falconry, is it brings all these people who otherwise wouldn't get together. Like, I wouldn't know Evan. I mean, me and him got along great, right? We had fun, but I wouldn't know him otherwise. I wouldn't know Matt otherwise. I wouldn't know Bear otherwise. I wouldn't know Brett, So all these people who I consider friends of mine, I met through falconry.
Dude, 100%. I couldn't agree more, man. It's amazing. Falconry just brings, that's why my mom pushed it so much when I was young and I wanted to do it. And she was so supportive, because she's like, my son's 14 years old. He's hanging out with school teachers, lawyers, tech executive people, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're hanging out with them all day. A lot more things that a 15-year-old kid could be doing.
Which is why transcends. We joke about our politics, and obviously the joke is I'm a lib, and the joke is Casey's a alt-right conservative, but the end of the day, like, I just don't care about that stuff. Like, you're a falconer, and that, to me, that makes you interesting. And those are the types of people that I want to be friends with.
Agreed, man. I don't care if you're a flaming liberal. If you can fly a bird, man, let's go hang out. Let's talk. Let's do it. Oh, and on that same note, A lot of people are probably not even listening at this point. Probably lost a bunch of people. But if you are listening, JP from out in PA sent me a picture. And JP is like a big ass guy. He's like 6'5", like 270 at least. And that bear the skin that he was holding over his shoulder, that was a huge bear. And he had our T-shirt on. And he made a point.
Picture.
He made a point to send me that, and so I'm gonna put it out there right now, and I'm gonna put it out on social media too. If you are wearing our swag and you have a cool picture, any picture of a hunting activity, something cool, and you're wearing our merch, we're instant repost. We're gonna post it because that's so cool. That's the point.
Also, if you're wearing our merch and you're wearing a ski mask, which
yes,
we're working on Sporting Chance ski masks. You guys heard it here first.
Yeah, it's going to be, if you put we want to start a trend where everybody your bird kills, you're taking a quick photo, you throw that ski mask on right on the page.
Right on the gram. What do you think the chances of us getting Teddy to wear a ski mask are?
That might be hard, but she likes us. I think maybe she'll
that would be impossible.
Me and Aaron were joking because Aaron's like, you got to get a picture with Bobby holding up the T-shirt because we wanted to give Bobby a T-shirt with the ginger tribute shirt because he called me and left me a voicemail and was like, he was like really upset that she died. First, like he called me and wanted to know what happened to her. So I wanted to present him with the shirt, and Teddy bred Ginger, obviously. And so I was like, we got to get a picture. And dude, there was no way he was going to put the ski mask on. It was like, but I literally had it in my bag. I was going to ask him to put it on. I'm dead serious. Imagine RFK in a fucking ski mask. Dude, that'd be so sick.
That would be so funny.
Sick. Yeah. So the ski mask is our thing. We're locking it down now. If you see anybody else wearing a ski mask in a hunting photo, it's because of us. So we said it here first.
Yeah. It's our thing. So, gosh, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. On the subject of T-shirts. So the ginger shirt is the newest shirt we have, and we're going to cycle out of the older shirts. So we're always going to have T-shirts coming out. We're working on some really exciting stuff right now too. That's how we fund the podcast. That's how we just got Casey a laptop on podcast funds.
My first laptop in my whole life. I've never owned a computer in my life.
Yeah. So thanks to you guys out there. We were able to buy Casey a laptop. That's how we fund it. You're not going to hear at the beginning of the show, there's the quick thing about who sponsors the show. But as far as you're not going to hear MeUndies ads or Manscaping ads in this podcast. We're not interested in that. The way we fund it is with the merch that we sell. So we have marked down some of the older styles, and we have limited sizes in those. Keep that in mind. But they're $20. So if there's a shirt, if your size is there, I recommend grabbing a shirt because the quality is there. They're comfort colors. They're real screen print, so it's not a digital screen print. They're the real deal, handmade screen printed shirts, and they're marked down to $20. So sticker packs are half off too. We want more people to have the stickers on the hot boxes and the cars. We want you guys rocking the shirts. So head on over to the Sporting Chance Pod and cop a shirt.
Cop a shirt, and I just want to clarify that or two and a sticker pack. I mean, the sticker packs are super cheap. You should just buy it. But with the whole thing with the computer, the computer it's for the show. It's for putting out content on the social media for the show. It's all show related. The funds also help with us doing cool hunts, interviewing cool people, because some of this stuff requires time. We don't pay anybody to come on the show, but if somebody's not like Kirk, to go out and hunt with Kirk and sit in his living room and talk with him, that costs money. And the podcast, some of the funds from the T-shirts help pay for all that, and the Airbnb and the hunting licenses. We're doing everything that we do in return in terms of money being put into this podcast is all for you guys to get something out of it. Content, interviews. How much does it cost us I don't even want to say what we're working on now with the artist, but how much did it cost for that artist?
$1,200.
It's $1,200 to have what we're having sketched out and drawn and painted by the person that's doing it. Very well known guy. It's going to be a badass piece of art. $1,200. You got $1,200 lying around, listener. So when you buy the T-shirt, it's not like we're taking it and like, you know, going out and partying with it. We're literally turning around and spending it on stuff to, you know, to make another badass T-shirt design so that the audience, so you guys have something cool to wear at Falconry meets and picnics and all this stuff, you know. So that's the point of the show. I just want to clarify that. You know what I mean?
Well, up until Brett, there were no cool falconry shirts.
Yeah, every time when I saw he was like this tattoo artist coming up with this cool stuff, I didn't even know who he was. I just immediately was like, dude, I'm buying that. Like, it's not really necessarily my style, but I'm buying it anyway. It's cool.
Yeah.
And we want to do
I'm
the same
big on
thing.
just supporting people doing stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like we said, Falconry transcends. You got badass tattoo artists, you got doctors, you got RFK, you got cool people in our sport. You know, and if they want to help further the sport in their own personal way, we should support them doing it, you know? And ours is just chatting shite on the podcast.
So you have any more questions for me about my Texas trip, Casey?
No, man. I think that was awesome. I'm a little disappointed you didn't get a Cara. I thought it'd be cool because I was hoping you would get bored of it and I could take it and play with it. Those things are so neat. I'm not going to catch anything with it. I'll just teach it to do like tricks and stuff.
I laid the groundwork for my friends that are down there to say, like, you know, let's put our heads together, think about how we can get our hands on Cara.
I think you just throw out like a dead jackrabbit and a BC, you'll catch it.
I think if you set up a, you know, like a dead pig or goat and the bow net, I think you could catch them that way.
Probably, but they chase lizards. They eat carrion. They chase lizards, right?
Yeah,
they're not.
Yeah.
So I think if you did like a couple like anoles in a BC run around circles, I bet you'd get one fired up.
Maybe.
Yeah, Cara is a very cool bird. Not like, you know, for falconry, like hunting necessarily, but they're very neat. And then there's the black ones from like Chile or something. Where are they from? Mm-hmm. They're from down South America.
Striated Cara.
Yeah, they're super cool. And there's like videos on YouTube of like people getting them to like open up jars and pull things out and hand them to the trainer. Like they're incredibly smart.
They say the species is rivals a raven in its intelligence.
I heard the same thing. Yeah, they're very smart. It'd be cool to have one just to train it and work with it.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that was it. It was a crazy week. A lot of stuff going on. I'm out in the field. I'm not really posting too much about it because trying to wait for my partner over here to get out in the field. I don't want to make him feel bad. But I've been in the field. You know, Helga's doing her thing, slaying stuff. She's it's like night and day from last year to this year. I mean, we saw 2 squirrels today. She caught 1.
That's great.
Yeah, she's not playing around this year. She's
great.
Turning on. So, and you called it too, Aaron. Though you definitely called it. You said, "Watch next year, she's going to be a beast." Because I kept trying to pawn her off on you, and you're like, "No, you're gonna wish that you had her. She's going to turn on. You'll see." And sure enough, she's just crushing. So yeah, just the usual thing, and yeah, like we said, T-shirt, ski mask. We're gonna have ski masks on the website soon. We're gonna try to get like a, you know, make them cool. Put like a little logo on them or like a teardrop or something. You just throw it on after a kill, instantly on the page of the website. It's gonna be cool.
Definitely
trying to get that trend going. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, anything else, Aaron? You want to cover?
No, man. I think it's good. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and stay tuned for some exciting episodes that are coming up that we're working on as we speak. Yeah, we got it's just going to keep going and going. We got all different angles, all different people we want to talk to about different things. It's not just going to be the same thing. How did you start falconry? I mean, a lot of that's fun. People love to hear that, but we're going to, you know, going forward this hunting season, we're going to be traveling. We're going to be hawking together. We're going to be meeting up with cool people, doing possibly video interviews potentially that are going to go on the YouTube channel. So we appreciate you guys listening. And if you're listening this far, we even more so appreciate you. So thank you. Yeah. Only real ones have made it this far. Yeah. Phil will start the beginning of the show, and this is probably a month later. So shout out to Phil, my sponsor. Shout out to Phil. I hope you had a happy new year.
right. Yeah, exactly. Literally. So, all right, guys. Talk to you later.